Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on your own screen, and hello to our unbelievable 226 CRM conversation. We are extremely happy to welcome today our special guest, Dr. Mirjam Ringer, and I will start before she is taking on the floor and answering your questions from the audience. As you feel free, please, to share your questions and comments on the favorite social media platform of your choice where you're listening and viewing right now live, so that we can integrate your comments into our show. Mirjam is a seasoned executive with over 15 years of experience in business-to-business and technology companies. As a specialist in strategic entrepreneurship and SMEs, she has proven track record of driving sales and marketing performance to boost profitability. She has successfully developed business across Germany, Europe, the USA, and China through direct, indirect, and OEM channels. Passionate about digitalization, efficient strategy execution, and growth, Mirjam is known for her hands-on mentality, strong sense of ownership, and accountability. She excels in empowering individuals and teams, building useful networks, and thriving in matrix and agile organizations. Outside of her professional achievement, she is married and proud mother of 2 kids, a daughter and a son. Welcome, Mirjam.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Ralph.
What did I miss, and what would you like to add?
Wow, you said a lot, so that thank you for that introduction. So I don't know what to add. I think it's the most important thing for the people today to discuss about CRM. It's true. I love to generate customer experiences. I love technology. I love also to combine sales and marketing. So let's dig into that topic.
Yeah. The first question which arises is your title.
Yes.
As you are circle lead marketing, and I probably missed the S of marketing, as you are in an area very special where you have done also research on. Would you like to start with that and elaborate a bit on that, please?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I think the discussion how marketing and sales can work better with each other is so old as I can think about it. And we were thinking about how can we integrate sales and marketing even better. And last year, we did a research study exactly about that. So how is the situation about sales and marketing? How are they really working together? Are the targets aligned? Is the organizational structure aligned, etc.? And, the situation is that one thing changed compared to the really old discussion. What changed is that the customer journey is now online. And this means marketing is working with the lead and with the potential customers much longer as they did before. And sales comes into the game later as they did come before. And this is a huge transformation which takes place. And this huge transformation also somehow need to be seen in the organizations itself. But it is not the case. So, and we wanted to lead here with best example, with best practice, and said, come on, let's combine sales and marketing in one team. And therefore, the S is coming from sales, marketing coming from marketing. But let's combine that in one team with one target, aligned processes, aligned projects, and adjust to the transformation which is happening out at the market there. Yeah, and this is why my title sounds like this. And it's also called Circle Lead because we are a pure agile organization, really with that framework. Therefore, we don't have a kind of C titles, VP titles, whatever. It's a circle title, and I'm responsible there for sales and marketing. It also includes business development, partner management, customer success, and that's where my title is coming from.
Cool. And it's also very interesting that your organization and your partner in crime, to say so, Bucket Seaman, are some very knowledgeable chaps which have started with you a series of studies. And what is our topic today is that we go for the one on CRM from 2024, where we would like to take some of the findings and the reflections, what we have learned over the year towards 2025. So it is very important to see that, especially from the vendor side, there are only very limited organizations still investing in overall studies of a certain amount of numbers. So I'm grateful that you do it in the German-speaking Europe. There are some organizations like we have our friend Laurie McCabe, which is very much driving similar initiatives in the SMB arena. But it is also that we observe that we do have a missing number of premier and real field research on these topics. Missing, therefore, is a bit the comparison between other findings, but we will manage as we digged out some observations which are coming from the international side. We can put in the ring or throw into the room and reflect on those and the findings you have found out in your research. The first step where we were curious and jumped on were the paths of digitalization. The gap within the organization, which on several challenges were forced in 2020, early part of the first half of the year, to send people home and no longer had external meetings, or at least an extremely reduced coming together and needed to go to the home office. This were an impulse to drive forward the digitalization part. That is one version of the truth. What I found extremely interesting is that you approach this with a certain positive, constructive skepticisms, and found out that not all the organizations are jumping on the digitalization transfer train. What were your findings here?
Yeah, that's true. So just to give you also a picture how big that survey was. So we as ADITO, we are a CRM vendor, and we are really interested into the market findings. And of course, we did not research our customer base. That is what we also do frequently. But now we really independently, with an, as you mentioned, external specialist for research studies, Professor Dr. Jens Böker and his research institute, we researched 250 companies in different industries, also different people within the organization, to have a valid statement how the market develops. And we wanted to challenge if our findings relate with the findings which we have in that research study, because we need to guide innovation, we need to guide the companies forward, and and you cannot only trust in what you see. You need to have a kind of valid, significant number of market research numbers here. And regarding the path of digitalization, yes, we researched about digital pioneers and digital laggards, kind of, and we wanted to see how developed the companies are already in terms of digitalization. And, you know, we are doing this research studies in 2017. So see, we have a kind of really path here. And in 2022, the digital pioneers were 35%. And now in 2024, we have 50% of companies calling themselves digital pioneers. So you probably might ask yourself, what is a digital pioneer? We described that the companies really completed digitalization strategies to a large extent, or that they really automized processes in a large extent. So not about kind of a little bit digitalization, so really having a strategy behind more processes, not just digitalized, also automated. And also that they created digital products or developed their current products further with digital paths. And what we are happy to see is that the number of digital pioneers here is increasing. So companies really invest, and they invest focused, because let me say here one additional sentence. Some years ago, we saw that digitalization budgets were put at the markets, and the companies did not know where to start. But we have the feeling that this is now managed more structured and more focused, related to the corporate strategies the company have. And yes, this is what we see. So that's a positive sign. The other thing is also that this year came out that the digital laggards, the number increased, which means the gap between those is also a tricky thing. So those companies who are laggards, it's really hard to keep up. I think we won't see them in the market in some years anymore. And those companies who did not speed up in terms of digitalization, it's really the last minute to step onto that train.
What are the reasons for the growth in that number of digital pioneers?
Yeah.
Why is this?
So we also tried to put more light into that. And so what we see is that really we have an increased number of implementation of digital strategies, which means it's not just about, putting money on digitalization. It's aligning the corporate strategy with a digitalization strategy, with really digitalizing the key processes of the companies. We see also more automation in the processes. That's also a positive aspect. And we also see more digital products at the market. I mean, look at yourself in the B2C sector, how dependent we are on digital products. So we see that it is not possible without digitalization anymore. And the last thing is also that what we see is that companies use digital channels for customer interaction better and better. We see also in B2B that business to business, that companies, their customer journey is also taking place online. So some years ago, that was not the case. We said the sales guys, they go out, they know their markets, they go forward. But also you see it's a transparency about product pricing in a variety of industries, not only in B2C. And therefore, a lot of industries, if it's also like in machine building or even in constructions, they wake up that they know also in their industry it's not possible anymore without using the digital channels that we have for interaction and for marketing. Mm-hmm.
That is a very interesting aspect you just mentioned. Going into more detail into the sectors, before we dive in, that, for instance, the machinery industry is one of the core elements in German-speaking Europe, especially here in Germany, and one of the key drivers. And one can see the industrial development trend, or how good the overall economy is driving forward if we have a look into machine industry and the machinery, larger automotive and related industries, which is quite a range of sectors to go for. One of the observations you just shared with us is that in the B2C as in the B2B, we had to get acquainted to work differently. What we have as the so-called new work, that we work a lot more from home, or even were forced to work solely from home, has changed to a certain degree. And it was quite visible starting 2021, when some of the newspapers, such as Wirtschaftswoche or Handelsblatt, did undertake some studies for themselves. And there is a Center of Mid-Market Research in Mannheim, ZKMI, which did also a research this year. And they found out that exactly what you described, the danger for those which are not into digitalization, either with their solutions or with their products, will have a hard stand and will go to fight. And that what they observed as well, which was news to me, as I was still believing that COVID and the corona pandemic were a kickstarter and a turbo driver to, let's say, modernization of the home offices and open the door and the opportunity to work from home. Now, two trends I personally do observe. The forced approach back into the office, which is not to my liking, and the missing real budgets in we go for digital, as that study from Germany found out that we have a different path where they are investing. And it looks like we have some sectors which are moving fast forward and some others which are really bad in shape, to say so, and will have to struggle very much. What is your first reflection, especially probably from your own experience in your own organization? How are you handling the new work approach or the back to office approach?
Okay, you're referring really to how we work with each other. So how should I say it without making too much that it does not sound as an advertisement? But ADITO is here really innovative in a lot of aspects. I mean, I just mentioned the aspect of agile organization. We also give the persons here to the freedom to work from home, but we also meet in the office. We have a campus where it's important also to meet from time to time, that our connection stays close. So we don't welcome that somebody is working 5 days from home. 5 days is a good keyword, because we even tried the 4 day week, 4 days a week. So we started that now 2 years ago. Same targets, but limited time. Let's be more efficient. Let's align work and life better. And we had really good examples with that. Of course, that's not possible in all industries, but in our industry, it is possible. So we are really trying things out and see if it works. And then we either stick to it or we change it. But in that aspect, ADITO is really a great, not only in that aspect, in a lot of aspects, but especially also in that aspect, ADITO is really a great company. So, and we, so you just mentioned people or companies want to have their staff back in the office.
Yeah.
of course, we also want to meet each other, because personal relationship is also what is important. But we try that, everybody can, that it works for everybody. So for instance, me, I'm living nearly 2 hours away from ADITO. I'm having 2 kids. So if I would need to go there every day, it would not work for me. So I go there 1 or 2 times a week. And and the other thing we do virtually.
So
that's working quite well.
that is cool, because that is an important aspect, as we have had some big names such as Salesforce calling back people completely back to the office. SAP is trying to get them at least 3 days back into office. And some other organizations just announced that they have decided a no working from home policy, even some larger German organizations. And I was wondering how the acceptance is after you have tasted from the flexibility and the perspective that you can organize, as you described, a better work-life balance, and also phase it to a way that you can collaborate and that you can communicate on some focus days, and the rest you have your targets you would like to achieve. But some jobs are easier to achieve if you are working very effective, efficient, and focused by yourself to get something done.
Yeah, and I think effective, efficient, and focused, what you're saying, that is also a matter of leadership. And it can be also a matter of IT tools who help you doing a great job in leadership. Because so one of our, that's a little bit off topic this year, the research study, but one key functionality for me is really collaboration, the collaboration functionalities within CRM. So having the track record, if the projects are really processing in the right way, if people from different departments help each other, that things don't get stuck. If I really have the transparency about pipeline, about activities, about strategy execution, then I'm much more interested into targets, and if we achieve them, and if we are proceeding and going towards the right targets in the right way with all our people, with all empowering also our persons, than if somebody works from home or from the office. And I think empowering is really here a keyword. We need to empower our people that they have fun at work, and the people are not only working, they also have families. So we need to find a possibility how this works. And we need to empower then the organization, the right delivering or giving the right framework that we all can work perfectly. And I think the solution is never black or white. It's never totally home office or totally office. It's a kind of scale of gray, and every company needs to decide what is the scale of gray, and how developed their leaders are in order to really handle the topics.
It is very nice that we have taken the path from the digitalization and the maturity of the organizations towards one of your impressive core findings, which was also one of our topics, that company are increasingly utilizing CRM as a tool for collaboration, and in particular, the planning, management, and control of marketing and sales activities is gaining an importance compared to previous years. So this is one of your core findings, the finding number 2. And there you are very straight aligned with some research from Arlington, which has been done for another CRM vendor from the United States, which is sometimes to be understood with a little sweetness. Yeah.
Mhm.
Those guys are also investing a lot of money in getting some research done and describing the need and going for where CRM utilization could be beneficial for the organization, either in a sectorized approach. They did some research on manufacturing, and in the other arena, a general approach, such as in the user adoption and in the operative opportunities, such as why do I love my CRM? As
Mhm.
it is enabling me, it's empowering me. And I would like to know a bit in more depth what function CRM assumes in many company according to your study for that co-working.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting question because you might assume that always number one function of CRM is the increasing customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. And that is what CRM is meant for. And that's also still the case. So companies use it exactly for that topic. 44% of companies answered that this is the target with CRM. And what's interesting that some years ago, what I'm mentioning now was not even on
Yeah.
that list. But now, as number 2 is coming, the cross-company collaboration. And it's not just about using a chat. So what
Yeah.
you see here in collaboration is something is a totally different approach of working with each other. It's so earlier on it was like people sent emails to each other reporting the status about a project, or they did meet in a meeting. But now it is that they post a project like you have in Instagram or whatever. You post a project and then people comment the progress about this project. And what happens is that team members help each other without that you always need a meeting, or without that somebody needs to tell, hey, please do this and that. So it is an iterative process, how things develop here. Of course, combined with chat, of course, combined with tasks that you can send each other. But it's what we say here is we switch from person-to-person communication. We switch to kind of a topic related communication. And just imagine what happens when somebody's sick, not coming to work. You have transparently the process described, and you have it historically how the progress was related to that event 1 year ago, whatever. So number 2 is really, after customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, is cross-company collaboration with 40%.
Wow.
And and then comes managing and controlling marketing and sales leads, interest topics, etc. So you see that efficiency, internal efficiency, is really what companies identified is what they need to work on. They need to really work on their internal efficiency, internal communication, in order, at the end of the day, have a 360-degree view to their customers. And in order to be even able to create individual experiences, customer experience to their customers. And they cannot do that if their people don't speak with each other. Mm-hmm.
What are some ways? You've obviously mentioned posting a project and being able to read below it, but what are some of the ways companies can take advantage of collaboration in CRM?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For instance, let's assume marketing and sales is organizing a fair or an event. And then, the key success driver, if an event gets a success or not, is also if the invitations take place in a good way. And the invitations depends on which industry, etc., often also need to be personally. So you have here projects which go cross-department. And that is something which you would perfectly organize within CRM as a project, organizing the event with the pre-invitation, how much people registered, then that you send additional invites, you even send the invitations then out of CRM. So that as an example. So I think I could fill the evening here with example, but just I think I mentioned two more. One thing what you would probably not think about, I think there are a lot which you can think about, marketing and sales projects that you organize in there. But one thing what you probably would not think about is the strategy execution process of a company. So you have a corporate strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You have a corporate strategy, and you know the problem the company problems they have is not finding the right strategy. It's the lack of strategy execution. So what we do in ADITO is that every circle, we are circles, every circle needs to go into strategy workshops and identify the projects which really are aligned with the corporate strategy. And each of that project is put into our CRM system as a project, and we keep track of if these projects are really coming into reality, which means in the top management, you have full transparency if the strategy is really going to be executed or not in all departments. So that as an example also.
I recall that you have also had consulting approach in getting these wheels gripping into each other, which you described as what some people, do not mistake me as a lover of panzers, but the two-us technology you described 2019 is very much to be related, is how these chains in these wheels are working and gripping into each other to make progress and to make a large machine move forward, such as a project or a strategy can be empowered, and you win speed and you win guidance, which is very much to my liking.
Yeah, that's true. Also, we also help our customers really to align their strategies. So really see what is the corporate strategy and how CRM can really help you to implement this strategy, and then also to identify key drivers that we can measure if CRM really helps you to integrate your strategy and how you can measure that. So that's not only what we do for us, that is also what we want to help our customers, or how we help our customers, because I mean, that was also a finding of this research study. A lot of IT projects fail because of losing focus, losing change management, etc. That is what we don't want to happen. Yeah, let happen our customers. Yeah.
So you enable them to keep control and to keep the drive forward in a progressive and positive way, which
Exactly.
let me jump back to one finding where I was asking myself, which is from the core findings of the digitalization. How can companies close the gap from your perspective between the digitalization pioneers and the laggards?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I give here also my input out of my perspective. So I see a real lack in change management. So companies invest in tools and
And
they then dedicate persons and teams who help to implement these tools. But pretty often we forget the people, and the tools can only help you if the people use the tools. And this means that it's so often that that companies say, "Oh, I don't settle dedicated resources to change management." That is what the CRM implementation team can do additionally. And that is what they also can do. But we see that that those companies who invest more in change management have a possibility of more successful project and CRM and IT implementation projects. And those who do not invest so much in the change management aspects, their companies, their projects are more difficult to put into practice. So first thing is, I see here a really lack of change management, and not about the capability, because that is what you can learn, and you can have consultants who guide you and support you, etc. It's about focus on change management. Then the other thing is also knowledge building about digitalization. So what I see is also that companies, if they give the requirements, then they speak about AI and they speak about automation, etc. But the basics are not in place. So there is a really great a great framework called the Kano framework, where you speak about different aspects. Just say it really easily. An airplane, if it does not fly, the service can be as good, as perfect as possible. But if it does not fly, you cannot have a happy customer. And that's a little bit what we see here, is that a lot of basics are not in place. I still would not say that those companies should not start with pilot projects in AI. They should go for it. They should test it, etc. But they really need to put their basics in place, and with a speed. And what I also see is that we have a lack of management attention towards digitalization. And here it's important. All managers will tell you digitalization is so important and we need to go for it, etc. But they then dedicate the projects and they let it go, and then they pull themselves out. They probably don't even use the systems themselves. And what happens if they don't use the system itself? So we in the research study was also that the most important aspect about user acceptance is still management attention. So if you are in a meeting and you need to report your sales pipeline and your manager tells you, "Hey, I want to see it in the system. Don't give me that Excel." You will have a great method of bringing the company towards using the system. So management attention at a certain degree, not just delegating, yes, digitalization is important. They need to stay into those topics for a while. They cannot just give it to the team. Yeah.
So your suggestion is they should walk their talk and use the system by themselves for focusing on where can we bridge the gap, which is existing from year to date to our plan. If I see the report, can you explain me in detail what's going on in your sector or in your area, for instance?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, walk the talk. And then, of course, you need to also have systems who help you or who fit in your IT infrastructure. And that is not so easy to identify in the first moment. You need to have really flexible tools with flexible interfaces, which are even customizable, because you will need it. You never build up on a green field in terms of that nothing was there and you can just start a new system. It always needs to integrate perfectly within each other. And that's what came out of the research study. What is anyway the we were quite happy about it, because that's one of the USPs of ADITO, to be so flexible. But that's also what I still see, and what was proven here as a key aspect to go on in the topic of digitalization.
That is a good point to jump on the key finding number 3. Professional expertise and general service quality are the most important criteria for companies when selecting a CRM provider. You just mentioned that bridging the challenge of having an IT landscape which is more or less homegrown, over years, brownfield to say so, and that coming into with a solution which is focusing on customer relationship management, either you are lucky and they have had one and you are the second one, or you are on a white sheet of paper. So there is some brownfield back office, and you are coming on the white sheet of paper on the green field to say so, and then what some people call the blue field, such as that you have the combination out of these interesting aspects and how to manage and integrate it with the needed enablement, with the change management, and with the fit of the technology. Having said that, how many companies have taken that challenge and especially have not managed properly to take that challenge and have discontinued the introduction of a CRM system?
Yeah, 38% of companies have discontinued CRM implementation at least once in the last 10 years. And 43% are currently also planning to switch their CRM systems. So although the market is not the most healthy one right now, we see here companies really investing in CRM system, because they know that they need to go for that flexible individual systems who can help them fulfill their needs.
That is very valuable. That's a very valuable finding, which I would like to align with some other comparisons we can find in the market, such as an ERP system has a lifespan between 15 to 17 and in the max 20 years. And after 20 years, you really have trouble to keep up with moving on technology and requirements, for instance, in the accounting area, as this is normally liaised together with full-blown ERP or back-end system. What is a key differentiator here in the lifespan is that CRM systems can go, if they have the certain maturity and the development circles and cycles, to 7 to 10 years from the observation of some German researchers such as Trovarit with their CRM satisfaction survey. But I find it very interesting to see that you have also find some very valuable up-to-date figures where you can decide on 43 are on the run for change, for looking for a new system. I would say that must have been a booming year so far for the CRM vendors. What is your reflection on that? Ever haven't seen any new massive investments in new cars or something like that? What is your take on that one?
Yeah. So, of course, I'm not happy for the companies which are not happy with their CRM system, although I'm happy for those companies, of course, which come to ADITO. We have companies also just recently coming to us. They try to implement for 2 years a CRM system with other vendors, and finally failed, and now coming to us and saying, we need to implement that now within the next 6 months. Of course,
sportive.
Yes, it always depends, right? How close to the standard they want to stay, and how much interfaces, etc. It always depends on the volume. However, I really see a change in the market there. I see that that the companies are looking for systems who really support them, and we saw that the reasons for changing the CRM provider are on the maturity level, really the insufficient functionalities, so that the CRM providers don't have the functionalities which the company needs, or that's a question, right? We can just speculate about them. Is it that the CRM system was not able to support their dedicated processes efficiently? Or is it that really a functionality was missing? That was by 45% the most frequent mentioned reason. And what also was the poor customer service, with 36% that the company said, we need here more support, more guidance, that the companies need to help us really fulfilling or reaching our targets. And then followed with 29%, it was the lack of user acceptance. So it means the companies did not manage to bring the system to fly. So they did not manage that the teams used it. So you remember what we just said about user acceptance, about how important it is to have management attention, to create knowledge, really to do change management, etc. So that is what really companies can improve. 28% it was high costs, and then also 27% lack of connections to other systems. So they had still islands, data islands, and could not create the benefit. It is still that I think 51% of companies do not have a 360-degree view on their customer base, and that's nowadays a real hurdle, a real challenge. So how can you support your customer individually if you don't connect here a kind of service ticket with a sales ticket inside?
So lack of functionality is one of the leading reasons for implementation failure or decision to stop. Why is that? I mean, isn't that something that should be hashed out before you make the deal to implement a CRM system?
Yes, that's a good question. So I'm totally your opinion, going with you. So that is something when you invest in change management, when you do a really good requirements summary gathering, engineering, etc. When you have an also agile project management who help you generate milestones, generate results. That is something what is possible. Of course, we know enterprise software projects are very complex. That's not an easy walkthrough. And what we see in companies that, I mean, the CRM responsible persons there, they do a CRM implementation project or an ERP implementation project once, two, maximum 3 times in their lives. So that is where they need guidance from external experts, from consultancy companies who do that over and over again, to not do the same mistakes as other companies did before.
And what aside of not making the same mistakes over and over again, instead of being a learning organization and take up the findings from others, how can companies reduce the dropout and failure rate of CRM projects from your perspective and out of your experience?
Yeah. So I would say that they need to choose a solution that is intuitive to operate and can be used without complex training. So usability, easy to use, a system that is supporting their processes, that they don't need to change the processes. Of course, process re-engineering and process workshops, etc., are really important. But the thing is, the system needs to support them in their day-to-day life. So that is one aspect. What I would definitely point out here. And the other aspect is really that the system needs to support them, the organization, and create a value. And the value should not be just that it's hard to work with the system. It should be that processes are probably automated, that the software is taking some steps for the people, instead of that the people need to do more and more steps with the software. So intuitive use, creating really value, and automation is something what I would invest, combined with what we said before: change management, attention, etc. Process, really doing process workshops before you start in the implementation projects, because otherwise, we had the situation that 4 different business units wanted to have 4 different sales processes. At the end, if you do a good re-engineering, if you take the employees with you, if you explain them, if you try to understand them, you can end with one sales process, and that's just for the implementation so much easier, and at the end of the day for the management so much more transparency.
I embrace that finding, such as being a consultant and doing business process re-engineering suggestions and management advice. I am exhausted when I see that, as you described, 4 business units would like to have a new CRM, but have 4 completely different and not fitting together approaches in doing the sales process. So doing this upfront, suggesting, for instance, one common sales methodology, and then creating one common path of how to drive the pipeline, how to go forward, how to nurture together with marketing the leads in the process and on the journey. That could be one step forward, aside of investing everything in a tool and still have a lot of fools around which would like to get something out of the tool which will not work. Having said that, the fools and the tools, we are observing more and more the trend of people which are big fans of not science fiction, but of artificial intelligence. And it wouldn't be us if we do not touch at least going for the end of our conversation, that we have one finding that you found out, that 58 of companies are already using AI, and the topic is also become a topic of gaining relevance. But you were giving us a friendly warning that the maturity of the organization from the digitalization perspective is not the real enabler for AI, because there are some reasons where you would suggest to make the homework first before you play around with new toys for the boys.
Yes, and in that special case, it should not be an either or decision. It should be an and decision. And the thing is that, yes, these companies need to do their homework and go into the basics, having customer segmentation in place, individual customer approach, connecting all the data, having the 360-degree view on the customers, having a data strategy in place, all that, etc. But the thing with AI is that luckily, fortunately, 58% of companies are using AI today. And I highly would really recommend that companies who don't use it or also who use it to really extend the usage of AI extremely. We right now see that the companies, especially who are using AI in the context of CRM systems today, are using AI to increase the relevant CRM objectives, which mean data, processes, and customer satisfaction. So this means that the companies use it for process optimization and automation. That's the majority with 32%. Then they use it for the support in customer interaction and customer services. And they also use it to support them for strategic business decisions. So more data research, more better data handling, etc. From and also summaries, as we know, in the world of the large language modules. And we really recommend the companies to start small pilot projects to increase knowledge about artificial intelligence, to train the organization, to train themselves about the possibilities, to really stay here up to speed in the trend, because we will see here huge steps in the future. So please don't take that as I said, or decision, make it an and decision.
I like what you said about it being a decision for the future, because one of the things I'm wondering most is, having conducted this study, how, if you had to do it again, knowing now what you didn't know then, what would that study look like? How would you do this next year?
Next year?
For example,
that's interesting, because we are already thinking about it, of course. And next year, of course, a much bigger part will be artificial intelligence. So which processes can be supported by AI, where we have the biggest possibility to change. And I think one part still will be how the organization needs to adapt in order to keep up to speed with all the trends. Because, we as a CRM company, of course, we want to speak and we want to deliver innovations. But I have the feeling sometimes the innovations we speak about are here and the companies are there. So it's important to speak about the innovations, to have them there once the companies are ready to use it. But for us, the most important thing is that we help really the companies to do those steps. So we are interested about the progress, how we support them, how we can increase their maturity in related to CRM step by step. So I'm pretty sure that this will be also a part of the research study again.
I would like to share.
The other things,
sorry, I would like to throw in the last minutes of our show the question from Vladislav: are those AI tools natively built into the CRM systems, or are they standalone solutions which are hybridly integrated? Mirjam, what is your take on that one?
So you will not recognize that you use them, but you use them in the system. So they are really natively integrated. And we are also here researching if other AI tools then, let's say German-speaking AI tools or German companies give here solutions. So we are really here very open, very flexible to choose different models here.
Thank you for that one, and sorry for the interruption, but I was so excited that we have audience participation that I would like to place that question as well.
Well, it's a great place for us to end, I think. It was solid. I mean, that's pretty much it for the convo today. It was fascinating. Thank you, Mirjam, for your time and your insight walking us through the ADITO study. Thanks to our audience for participating and listening. If you'd like to watch this again or catch any of our other episodes, you can go to YouTube, the CRM-Konvos channel, CRMKonvos. We would love to see you there. Tune in next week when we'll be diving into conversational AI, virtual call centers, and customer experience with our guest, Antonia Scodari. Hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. But in the meantime, thank you again and be well.
Take care. And we go offline now. Please stay